As the one whose light burns so brilliantly led us to the next, the good stages had explained to me the intricacies of the leanness of the shades, as their astral bodies had taken on the forms of their own desires, then as an antipode to their time on the living plane. Once he had finished explaining, and become quite frightened at the sight before me, the steepest and narrowest of paths, with flames shooting out of the inner bank. I thought to myself, here I could fall off. The sun, turning the heavenly sky pale with light, casted a shadow of my form onto the ledge's edge, and two onto the flames which danced gleefully. My guide cautioned me.
I warn you now, take heed. It's such a treacherous path. One could slip here easily and plummet.
The shadow which I had but taken scant notice of had attracted a number of shades who resided in the fire to my position. I heard them cry,
He seems to have a body of real flesh.
With this, a number of them, careful not to leave the fire, stepped towards me. Just as they approached with care, I too drew my ear to them.
Oh, you who tread behind their two, and sign of respect, please speak to me when thirst and burns. It is not only I, but all others here who thirst for your words, much more than a steed in your race for water. How is it that you block the sun with your form, unless you are not in the clutches of death?
As I was about to explain, a most unusual sight caught my eyes. A band of souls who were too surrounded by flames trotted down the blazing road as I stared on. The shades greeted each other with a brief kiss on the cheek, then hastened to move on without lingering, both sides content with this greeting. Just as I had seen the two groups converge, they had begun to cry out, both raising their voices to drown the others out. The group that had recently arrived proclaimed, Sodom! Gomorrah! And the others, O Pasiphae, for whom the beastly lust had overtaken. As two flocks of cranes converge and leave, so too did the band of souls, both in tears and relentlessly shouting. Once the groups had taken their leave, the same souls who questioned me before came back to me, faces eager to learn. Knowing their wish, I began. O souls of the saved, I have not yet crossed into the heavenly state, nor is my body on the mortal plane. As you can see, I am of real flesh. At the beckoning of a fair lady above, I am climbing so that I may have my blindness removed. Just as Paul did, I too do now. Please, those who are most assuredly on their ways to salvation, what are your names, so that they may hasten your way to paradise? The sage, dumbfounded and speechless, recovered from their brief surprise, returned to the conversation. The same soul who had approached me first said,
Oh, thou art truly blessed, as you will surely reach a better place from your experiences. The shades who do not move with us were the same sin of our forefathers in Rome, and of those who were decimated in Sodom. Thus their cry of self-reproach, and as was of an animal lust, yielding our humanity for the sake of pleasure. Hence our own cry of the name of the queen who shamed herself in the beast-shaped vessel. Now that you know of our sins, you will want to know our names, which I cannot give all, as I have no time to know. To fulfill your wish, I am Guido Guinizelli,
to whose name I felt it like Gorgeous and the two sons felt. And I heard the name of the father of the graceful and beautiful poetry of love, Gitone, as I was walking through the flames. Sound nor speech to her reached me in my thoughts, as the flames prevented me from reaching whom I wanted to see. Once I did, I spoke and convinced him to let me serve him in any way, and thus he said,
The word you have uttered are profound, so profound that the waters of the Leah cannot sweep it away. Yet if you speak, and speak the truth you have, tell me why do you show in both words and looks this love you have for me?
I replied, Your works will be precious as long as men speak and write for love.
My brother,
he said,
you may see ahead a better wordsmith of his language. Those who wrote the poems of love, those who wrote great tales in prose, all are but mere pupils to his greatness. Those who considered the master of the troubadours a greater poet could not pour oil out of a jar. For they judge only on word of mouth, and not of word on parchment. Their minds made up before they know reason and the principles of art. But if the privilege of reaching the holy paradise is truly yours, then please pray the Lord's Prayer for me, for which part appropriate for us, as we are now delivered from all evil.
He then disappeared back into the fire, like an eel into the depths of water. I moved towards the exalted shade, and relayed that my desire had prepared a welcome place for his name in heaven. Graciously, he replied swiftly, Tan m'abolis vostre cortes demand, qu'io non me puisets ni voile a vos cobrinde. Je suis Arnaut, que plorivau cantan, consiros vela passara folor, i vois sen lios oiques per denan. Ara vos preg, per aquela valor que vos gira al som de l'escalina, se venia vos a temps dema dolor. Retreating, he heeding those flames which purify. We had nearly left behind this scorching cliffside when God's angel of joy appeared to us yet again, proclaiming, Vite mundo code, so beautifully, and with such tenor behind it. Then, such as a sword strikes an assailant, the angel's next words rendered me struck with a particular sense of dread. Holy souls, thou must suffer and be purified in those flames. Enter now and open up your souls and ears to what is sang beyond. My face and posture must have betrayed my feelings, as my guides had turned towards me. The great Virgil, in his endless wisdom, said to me,
Oh, my good friend, the spectre of death is quite absent here. Remember when we had rode that foul beast, Geryon. I took care of you then, dear son. Do not think it will end with God's presence closer to us. As you have believed in me throughout the course of this journey, believe me when I tell you that if one were to spend 5 millennia in these flames, not one hair on your body would be singed. And yet still, if thou dost not find my own word trustworthy, place the hem of your robe into the fire, and you will find as you wear it now. It is time, Dante. Enter without fear, dash it away, and follow me.
Yet, I stood still, ashamed. Virgil, somewhat exasperated at my position, appealed to me once more.
Friend, dost thou not long to see Beatrice? This wall is the only thing between you and her.
With the utterance of her name, I felt the fear and stubbornness melt away like wax on a candle. Virgil once again said,
Now then, shall we enter?
Beckoning Stasis to enter last, he and I entered the flames. My body in the flames, I felt such pain, such heat, such feverish heat, that I would have gladly dipped my toes into the depths of Vesuvius to relieve myself of the intensity of the fire. I heard my master call out to me in an attempt to comfort my pain.
Ah, my friend, it seems I can see Beatrice's eyes.
A voice began to guide us, and we followed until we had emerged where the descent began. Radiating with such brightness, a voice came pouring from the light, proclaiming, Venite benedicti patris miei. Then the voice had said, Make haste, move before the west has given up its light. Making our way up the narrow passage, which goes straight up the cliff, we had spent but a short time ascending before the evening sky gave way to night, and thus we rested on the craggy steps. Deep in slumber, another dream came to me. I dreamed I saw, just about the hour of Cytherea, a young girl picking flowers within a meadow. The girl sang these words,
I am Leah. I spend all my time creating a crown of flowers with mine own hands. So when I look in the mirror, it pleases me. My sister Rachel sits beside her own, contemplating her lovely eyes as I use my lovely hands. Her joy in reflection, mine in act.
Before the great splendor of morning, light washed away darkness, and so too did it wash away my sleep. I woke to see my 2 teachers already up.
Men, for ages, have been searching for our fruit, the same fruit which will give peace to your hungry soul,
Virgil said to me. Never was a more auspicious gift, given and received with as much joy. My desire grew. A desire to be up there. So much that I felt I could fly up to the top. Once we had reached the topmost step, my teacher took me aside and addressed me.
"Oh, my son, you have now seen both the temporal and eternal fire. You have also reached the place where our understanding ends. From the beginning of our journey, in that vile inferno, I led you with both intellect and with skill. My friend, find joy in yourself, and let it be that pleasure now guides your journey, for the narrowest of paths is behind us. Behold, dear son, the sun shining here, the grass, the flowers, the trees, the great smell and warmth of which only the earth could produce of itself. Rest here and wonder as you please, until the lovely eyes of your own angel come. Even as a poet, I find it that my words or signs cannot do anything here. Thus expect none from me. Your will, now strengthened, upright, wholesome, and most of all, free, will be your guide. Do not heed discretion, would be quite wrong. My dear son, my friend, I find it with great pleasure to crown and meter you, Lord of yourself."